So we've had many presidents, vice presidents, candidates. The political connection with Grand Hotel is 130-something-year-old history, very, very strong. Get an awful lot of questions on Mackinac Island about presidents that have come to Grand Hotel or associated with Michigan or Mackinac Island. First president that we know came to the state of Michigan was in 1817. And that was James Monroe, came to inspect Detroit. The next president to visit Mackinac Island area and almost stopped on Mackinac Island was President Abraham Lincoln. In 1848, he was on a steamer, a side-wheeler. The ship was called the Globe, and they was transversing the Great Lakes, going back to Chicago, because he was running for president. He was on the Republican ticket, and his opponent on the Democratic side was Lewis Cass, and Lewis Cass was connected with Mackinac Island, so maybe that's the reason he didn't stop on Mackinac Island. Ulysses S. Grant stayed on Mackinac Island. He stayed at the Mission House. Mission House was actually an Indian school converted to a hotel in 1850, considered the oldest hotel on the island itself. A little after the turn of the century, they were considering Washington to find a location for a summer White House. So several presidents kind of turned down the idea. William Howard Taft came in 1911, looked over the island, decided that was not the place for the summer residence. Today it's the summer residence for the governor of Michigan. In 1929, tourism was booming in the 1920s, of course, on Mackinac Island. They decided it'd be a great idea for tourism on the fort to bring up Boy Scout groups throughout the state of Michigan to raise and lower the flag. We still do it today. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts from all over the state of Michigan come up. They built barracks for them to stay in, these Boy Scouts. And the very first year was 1929. And a young Boy Scout that was working on his Eagle Project came with the very first group of Boy Scouts to come to Mackinac Island in 1929, and that was a young Gerald R. Ford out of Grand Rapids. Interestingly enough, he came back again. He came back in 1975, the only seated president to visit Mackinac Island. In 1975, he arrived by helicopter, which was a big deal, and he toured the Scout barracks when he was working on his Eagle Scout program. And he gave an incredible speech how somebody staying in those barracks could end up being a United States president. While he was on the island, he toured the fort, toured downtown. I know he ate vanilla fudge at May's Fudge Shop as well, and he played golf out on our golf course. Let's go back in time a little bit to 1955. 1955, Harry S. Truman came and stayed at Grand Hotel. He was fundraising for the Presidential Library, the Truman Library, in 1955. Another interesting presidential fact on Grand Hotel is 1960. A fella, John F. Kennedy, he was assessing the backing he would get as the first Catholic president, the first candidate to be a Catholic president running for the United States office, and he came to Mackinac Island. Mackinac Island is very Scottish, Irish, very Catholic town as well. The governor of Michigan at the time, G. Menon Williams, invited him to Mackinac Island, and he was going to talk to the movers and shakers and the business heads, and he was basically seeing if he could get the backing of Michigan for this run for presidency. And they met up at the governor's summer residence, which adjoins Grand Hotel property across from the golf course. And Mr. Musser, he was the president of Grand Hotel at the time, and he was invited up to this meeting to meet John F. Kennedy. And during the meeting, Mr. Musser was distracted. And when he was distracted, it was very early June, how beautiful the island was. Grand Hotel, when we originally opened in '87, we were only open 2 months. We were open July and August. And over the 130-something years, we've extended our season. And Mr. Musser said, "Why aren't we open?" The flowers were out. It was a beautiful day. He was distracted by this whole meeting. And he went back and told his uncle, who owned the hotel, W. Stewart Woodfill, he said, "We need to open this hotel earlier." Because of President Kennedy's campaign, we opened 2 weeks earlier the following year, 3 weeks, and now we're open for 6 months and closed for 6 months during the season. So that was Kennedy's visit to Mackinac Island. Next president to come to Mackinac Island, and actually they were future presidents. There was a governor's conference. Governor Blanchard invited Democratic governors for a conference in the hotel, and this is in 1978. A young governor, Bill Clinton, came, and Bill Clinton was one of the many governors that were there, and a fellow that wasn't a governor came with him, and that was Joe Biden. Joe Biden was here as a senator at that time, so they're both future presidents of the United States. Additional president that visited Grand Hotel actually came to the Mackinac Island area twice, and that was George H.W. Bush. He came in 1992, and he walked the bridge, but unfortunately didn't come to the island, but he did come to the island in 2005. He came for a speaking engagement. Connection with American presidents over the years has been very, very strong.